In this presentation, we are in grade 8 mathematics, and our topic is approximation. And in this particular discussion, we are going to give place values. We are going to give place values up to about 8 digits or 7. We are going to round off whole numbers to the nearest 10,000. We will also round off decimal numbers to the nearest hundredth. Okay. Now, we are talking about approximation, then we can't talk about it without place value. Place values. All right. Now, when we talk of place values, we are actually going to be looking at, let me start with a decimal point here. Okay. Then we will say on this side of the decimal point we are going to have, let me just say, put a number like this: 1 2 3 4.567 8. All right. This number, I'm going to give you an example, is 1234.568 all right. Now, don't make a mistake and say this is 1234.5678. No. For these numbers on the right hand side of the decimal point, you call them individually 5, 6, 7, 8. But on this side, on the left hand side, you will say 1234. 1234.5678. Yeah, that's the correct way of calling this one. Now, if we talk of place value, we are going to say this is the unit, capital U, okay? And then this number here stands for the tens, capital T. Here we have the hundreds, capital H, and here we have the thousand. Okay, so here this will be the tenth, this will be the hundredth, lower kept letters now. This will be the thousandth, this one will be the 10,000th. Okay, so these are actually place values. Let me just do this so that you see what is happening here. So we have our place values here. Okay, this is the decimal point. We have our place values here. So now these thousands, hundreds, tens, units, tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, these are actually place values. Okay, so that's what we need to remember. Now, how do you write 1,000? How do you write 1,000? Remember that 1,000 would be actually one. It would actually be 1,000. All right, 1,000. Okay. Now 100 would be 100. Okay. So tens would be like this. Okay. Then the unit would be just 1. Okay. All right. Now, how do we write tenth? Tenth actually, it's when we talk of tenth, we are talking about 1 over 10, which is basically 0.1. That is a tenth when you talk of a tenth. Now, when you talk of a hundredth, we are actually talking about 1 over 100, which is equal to 0.01. It's a tenth. Okay? A hundredth, a thousandth is 1 over 1000, which is basically 0.001. Okay? Now, we need to understand this. So this is the thousandth, hundred, tens unit. Tenth, hundredth, thousandth, 10,000th would look like this. 1 over 10,000. So it becomes 10,000th. 0.0001. All right? This is basically what is happening. So now, what is happening here? For this number here, I'm just trying to give you the theoretical background of the place value. Okay? Place value. So if we would write these numbers here individually, we would have for this one, it's 1,000, so we would have 1,000. Okay? 0.0000. Okay? This is what we have. Then we also have 200. 200. So it would be 200.0000. All right? I'm just trying to give these numbers individually. Here it's 3 tens. So tens, it's this. So 3 tens would be actually 30. But because we have a decimal point, we will say point. We keep the place for these values. We have 0, 0, 0, 0. Now for this one, it's a unit. So a unit is actually written like this. But since it's 4, we are going to have 4 here. 0.0000. Okay? What about this one? This one is a tenth. So it's 0.1, but because it's 5 here, we are going to have 0.5. Then we keep the place values here. Okay, what about this one? It's a hundredth. Hundredth is 0.0201. So because it's 6 here, we are going to have 0.06. Then we keep the place value here by adding zeros. Okay, now what about this one? It's a thousandth. A thousandth looks like this, 0.001. So that means since we have 7 here, it's going to be 0.007. Then we can add 0 for place value. Now, the last digit here, which is the 10,000th. So 10,000th looks like this. It's 0.0001. Now we are going to have 0.0008 in this case. Now, if you had to add this, all this, okay? If you added all this, you would come up with actually this side 8, here 7, here 6, here 5, decimal, here 4, then 3, then 2, and 1. So you realize that when we take all these numbers individually and add them, we get the same value, this one. So I just detailed it here to give you the idea of a place value. So it is very significant or very important that when you write a number, you definitely know its place value. You know whether it's 1,000, you know whether it's 100, you know whether it's a 10, you know whether it's a unit, you know whether it's a tenth, you know whether it's a hundredth, you know whether it's a thousandth, or you know whether it's a 10,000th. So that when you work with these numbers, you are in line with their their position as far as place value is concerned. All right. Now you understand that when we talk of a tenth, we are talking about one decimal place, a hundredth, two decimal places, a thousandth, three decimal places, a 10,000th, four decimal places. Okay, that's when we are dealing with decimal numbers under approximation. Now, I want you to understand that when we approximate, then we write down numbers to a certain place value. When we approximate, that means we just change a number to a certain place value. Okay, let me give you an example here. Now we can have an example like this, whereby we say we have a number we have a number. Let's say the question says, write down the place value of 7 in the following number. Write down the place value of 7 in this number. Let's say we have um, um, this number 82.7. So what is the place value of 7 in this number? All right, one decimal place is what? The tenth. So this 7 here is actually the tenth. Okay, that is as easy as that. Let's look at this one. What about this? What is the place value? What is the place value of 7 in this one? What is the place value of 7 in this number? Now, when you look at this number, 7 is here, and this here is the tens, because this is the unit, this is the tens. So this 7 here is the tens. That's its place value. All right, let's look at this one. I'm just trying to recap. All right, let's look at this. Let's say we have this. The question is, what is the place value of 7 here? This is to 3 decimal place. It's 7. It's here to the 30 decimal place. So that is what? This is the 10th, 100th, 1000th. So this is actually 7 is a thousandth. Okay? So that's how you can easily find the place value of a certain digit. All right? Now let's look at another example here. This one says, find the digits that are in the hundredths place value. Find the digit that is in the hundredth place value. So here we are focusing about the hundredths place value. Hundredths. Okay? Hundredths place value. Let's say you have this number. You have 352.407. Okay, 407. Which digit? This is a digit. This is a digit. A digit. A digit. A digit. And a digit. So which digit is at the hundredths? Which digit is the hundredth? It is at the hundredths place value. Tenths, hundredth. So this is the digit. This is the digit 0. Okay, yeah. So now what about this one? What about this one? What about this one? Let's say we have 47.73. Which digit is at the hundredth place value? This is the tenth, this is the hundredth. So that means this would be the digit. Now that is how we are trying to see what we can do with this different aspect here. Now we can be asked to round off numbers. Round off. We can be asked to round off numbers. So when you round off numbers, that means you are converting them to a certain digit. Let's say 1, you round a number to 100, to 1000. Okay, let me just say 1000. Number 2, you round a given number to 100. Okay? What would you do? Let's say you had this number. Round it off to 1000, to the nearest 1000. Round off to the nearest. They will say to the nearest, say 1000. Now, let's say you have this number. This number. How do you round it off to the nearest 1000? What you do here is this. This is basically what you need to do here. If you want to round this number to the nearest 1000, what you do is you are going to say this is equal to, because you are going to round it to the nearest 1000, what you are going to do is this. This is the unit. This is the tens. This is the 100. This is the 1000. This is the 10,000. So you want to round off this number to this digit here. Okay? So what do you do with these ones? What do you do with these ones? The first thing you do with these ones is to write zeros for them. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. To keep their place value. So if this number is greater than 500. Why 500? Because 1000 to the nearest 1000, half of a thousand is equal to 500. So if this number, this one, is greater than 500, we round it up. When we round it up, I mean that we are going to take it as 1 and add it to this. So that means we are going to have 20. Let me recap. The question says you write this number to the nearest 1000. So you are going to look at the digit at the 1000 place value, at the place value of 1000. So it's 9. Then you come back to the digits on the right hand side. There are 3. So you write 3 zeros for them because they are going to disappear. You write 3 zeros for them to keep their place value. Then how do they disappear? They disappear in this way. You are going to look at the half of 1000. This one, half of 1000 is 500. So these 3 digits, 735, is greater than 500. So we convert it to 1 and add it. We round it up. That means we are going to add the 1 here. We add it here on this 19 or this 9 here. It gives 10. So 10, we put 0, we carry 1. It gives 2 here. That is why we have 20 here. Okay? Now the same number now to the nearest so this would be Roman figure 1. Let's take the same number now to the nearest 100. The same number to the nearest 100. This number. Okay? So this same number to the nearest 100 would be this one. To the nearest 100, we take 100. We divide it by 2, so we get 50. Okay? So what are we going to do? The 100 place value is here. So what do we do with these two numbers? We add zeros for them because they are going to disappear. Now, this 35 here should be greater than 50. If it's less than 50, then we throw it, we round it down. So when we round it down, we convert it to 0 and forget about it. So now we will be left with 197, 197, 197. We put it here. So this number now is this one to the nearest 100. To the nearest 1000, you start with 3 zeros. To the nearest 100, you start with 2 zeros. Okay? If you were to write it to the nearest 10, what would you do? Let's look at it. If you were to write it to the nearest 10, what would you do? I'm just adding this one. To the nearest 10, you would say I have this. To the nearest 10, it would become uh, you would say, okay, to the nearest 10, I take 10 and divide it by 2, I get 5. Okay, so what do I do? 10, place value for 10 is here. So that means this digit here, 5, we put 0 for this because it's going to disappear. Now, this 5 is equal to 5, this one. So we round it up. We convert it to 1 and then round it up. We are going to say 1 plus 3, 3 plus 1. This 5 has been changed to 1 because it's equal to 5. So it becomes 1 and we add it here, we get 4. So we are going to get 1974 here. So this is this number to the nearest 10. So to the nearest 10, 1, 0. That is the pattern. Okay? Now, having said this, now I want to believe that at least we have looked at this uh, um, rounding off. Okay? Now, let me take the last example. Rounding off to the nearest tenth. To the nearest tenth. I will start with the nearest tenth, and then the nearest whole number, and then the nearest hundredth. Okay, let's start with the nearest tenth. The nearest to the nearest tenth. Yeah, they will write it like this: to the nearest tenth. Okay, so let's say we have this number. We have let's say we have 0.81. Okay, to the nearest tenth. What would it be? It would be equal to where is the tenth? The tenth is here. This is our tenth here. Okay, this is our tenth here. So what do we do? To the nearest tenth, we are going to look at this digit here, this one. Okay, so having looked at this digit, what do we do? We are going to say, okay, what we do, we are going to take it, and we are aware that this is less than 5, this one. So if it's less than 5, then we throw it away. We round it down as 0. So the place value would be here for this, and then this would be 0.8 as it is. Okay, so this is it. So let's take this one to the nearest hundredth. To the nearest hundredth, let's say we have this value here, 0.505. Okay, to the nearest hundredth, what would you do? This is the tenth, this is the hundredth. Okay, we look at this digit, okay, and put a place value for it. Now, because it's going to disappear, now it's 5. So if it's 5, we round it up as 1. So we are going to say 1 plus this 0 is going to be 1. Then we have the 5 here, 0.0. So this would be the answer. Okay? To the nearest whole number. To the nearest whole number. All right? Let's say we had this one. To the nearest whole number, let's say we had this one. We had 99, 99 point, let's say 99.38 to the nearest whole number. Whole number is this. This is a whole number. So to the nearest whole number, that means we are going to look at this digit and this one. Let's say this 2. Okay? Or this one. You can just look at this one. If it's less than 5, it is rounded down. If you do a equal to 5 or greater, would round it up, add it here as 1, and the whole number would be 100. But now because we round it down, we throw it away because it's less than 5, the whole number remains as 99. Okay, That is that, 99. You can say 99.00, it doesn't matter. But you can as well say 99. Okay? Okay. Now at this point, I think we have tried to cover what we wanted to cover, except for the last part where we look at decimal places. Okay? Uh, can you write this number to one decimal place? Writing a number to one decimal place. Okay? Roman figure to a number to two decimal places. Roman figure 3, writing a number to three decimal places. Okay? Now, let's say we have this number 0.6957. Can you write it to one decimal place? Yes. To one decimal place, it would be. How many decimal places are here? There are 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You count the digits on the right hand side of the decimal point. This is the decimal point. There are 4 digits on the right hand side of the decimal point. So this number is to 4 decimal places. Now, if this is 1, 2, 3, 4 decimal places, 1 decimal place, 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places, 4 decimal places. So that means if you are asked to write this number to one decimal place, it's the same as saying write it to the nearest tenth, because one decimal place is a tenth. It's here. So we want to write it up to here. So we are going to look at this digit. Now that it's greater than 5, we are going to round it up as 1 plus 1. Okay? We are going to convert it to 1 and say plus 1 to this one. So it is going to be 0.7 to one decimal place. Okay? So the same number 0.6957 to two decimal places. 1, 2. To two decimal places would be the same as writing it to the nearest hundredth. To the nearest hundredth. Because the second decimal place is hundredth. The place value is hundredth. So we are going to look at this digit. Now that it's 5, we round it up as 1. We say plus 1 to this. It's going to be 10. We put 0 and carry 1. It becomes 7. So it's going to be 0.70 to two decimal places. Okay? This is two decimal places. This is one decimal place. Okay? Yes. Now the same number. Let's take the same number. Okay? Let's take the same number as 0.6957 to three decimal places. To three decimal places. 1, 2, 3. The third decimal place is the thousandth. The same as writing this number to the nearest thousandth. So we are going to look at this digit. Since it's greater than 5, we are going to convert it to 1 and add it here to make 6. So we are going to have 0.696 to three decimal places. Okay, it's as easy as that. Okay, so now take care, because we are done with the objectives we stated at the beginning of this lesson. Take care.